Hello everybody and welcome to TOT&HAM, the weekly show where James and I discuss in more detail Tottenham and West Ham.
Hiya.
How are we doing?
Still depressed.
Yeah, you should be in a better mood than you were last week. Let's say. At least Tottenham got a point.
On the basis... What?
Oh, sorry, you didn't. At least you scored a goal. That's what I meant to say. At least you scored a goal.
On the basis of what? Like, I'm honest. Honestly, seriously, I thought we were... Suji's son's in the room. I thought we were bad on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday. Look at me.
James
Sunday is
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tottenham were really poo. Yeah.
Liverpool should have won 4 or 5-0. And I know we had chances.
Yeah.
We had we obviously scored very early. We had a chance towards the end. There was obviously Son's massive chance at 1-0. But Liverpool pummeled us. They showed exactly what teams like Spurs lack when they concede an early goal and how they can't break down teams. Liverpool decided they were going to keep the tempo high and just keep going. All the small things like take throw-ins quickly, take free kicks quickly, put the ball into the box in dangerous areas. Admittedly, it massively helps when you've got two fullbacks like Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. I mean, particularly Trent, who can deliver from absolutely anywhere.
Mental.
But there weren't many positives from Spurs. Positives would be the goalkeeper. Played well. He did all right. I said on the main pod yesterday, I think everything that he did save, he should have saved, but he's still got to save them. He did his job. He did well. I think the two centre-halves defended the box quite well, Sanchez and Alderweireld. I think that's it.
Nothing else to add.
That's it. I mean, I could get into a whole 20 minutes on Aurier or Christian Eriksen. I don't think it's worthwhile. Aurier's obviously got slammed for the goal.
Yeah.
I didn't think his performance defensively was too bad otherwise, but you could see it happening. But nobody's mentioned Eriksen wants 3 weeks on the ball in the middle of the pitch, and it actually leads to us conceding a goal from Liverpool playing a long ball over the top.
I didn't think Eriksen was the type of player that would throw his toys out the pram, and I don't think
he's not a toys out the pram.
But he's also not 100%.
He shadow boxes what I said. He works hard. So like he kept tracking Robertson, never put a tackle in, and I get it's not his job. I think it really didn't help us.
It's your job to tackle. You're a footballer. You have to tackle.
It would have certainly been better for us if Lamela could have played in that position, who picked up what we believe is a slight knock, although Spurs fans will know a slight knock for Lamela does normally mean 6 months.
Yeah.
We missed Lamela because I say it over and over again, if we want to start a pressing game again, he is normally the instigator from that position to go and start a team wavelength of pressing. He's so cute. Bless him.
He's a little monkey. Do you want to tell the fans who listen who's your favourite West Ham player?
Aaron Cresswell.
Because?
My name's Aaron.
Yeah, your name's Aaron and he's Aaron Cresswell. So it's the ultimate reason to choose the best player. There's never been a player for West Ham ever called Suj, so I've got no chance of picking a player with the same name as me. There has been a player for West Ham called Suj.
When you wasn't married, you was playing.
No, when I was married, before I was married.
What kind of lies have you been telling?
Before I was married, I played football, but I didn't play football for West Ham. We've got a few questions on Spurs from the tweet that you put out asking for a few questions. Do you want to answer the Spurs questions? Or should we talk about West Ham and then come back to all the questions at the end?
Do I want to talk about West Ham?
Talk about West Ham? But shall we?
I need
to
ask you about this tweet from Saturday.
Yeah, which Ronan Megan's asked the question about. Let's talk about it and have a
Ronan asked, if you get a chance, can you discuss hashtag Pellegrini out maybe?
Yeah.
And he says, how long before Poch out possibly? Poch out won't start.
Nah. And Pellegrini out, I put that tweet out there a little bit tongue-in-cheek because I didn't put the maybe on the end of it. And I don't firmly believe, I'm not in like a Pellegrini out camp. But ultimately, my issue now with the team is the style of play is really hampering us. We are so slow. I don't know if it's down to the last 2 home games have been Crystal Palace and Sheffield United, and they've sat back and not given us any space. But if it's instead of 1 touch, it's 2 touch. Instead of looking to drive forward, it's pass the ball sideways. It's always wait and let the other team get their shape back. when we get into the final third, the amount of times that Felipe is in the final third, and you're like, drive forward, and they just check back, and then they look for the other pass or what have you, completely destroys the way we play football. And in my opinion, if Pellegrini is coaching the players to play that way, then he is to blame for why we are not able to go and kill teams like Palace and Sheffield United. If we'd have played with more aggression on the front foot against Sheffield United or Palace, we would have scored 3 or 4 goals, and we'd probably conceded 2 or 3, but we'd be winning games by outscoring the opposition. And we're playing with the brakes on. We're hampered, and I don't like to see that. At West Ham, I think we would rather win 4-3 than 1-0 quite often, because we want to see that attacking football.
And quite often you'd rather lose 4-3 and draw 1-1.
Quite
It's been the
possibly
mentality
as well.
quite a lot.
But I want to see, we've got the talent. The issue is not the talent there. I mean, we've got creative players. I'm a Felipe Anderson fan, even though I know he gets quite a bit of stick. A lot of people have been saying that he's our best player, but he's not performing at his best. I think he's playing better than a lot of them out there. He's willing to take the ball and drive forward, but he puts the brakes on and checks back. And on top of that, there were 2 substitutions that he made at the weekend that were confusing, which was Anderson off, and I don't know why he took Felipe Anderson off. I think Anderson was playing all right, and Snodgrass, just when he was about to take a corner. At the start of the game, I looked at it and I thought, well done for playing Snodgrass, because we had then 3 midfielders in there in Rice, Noble and Snodgrass, who work rate they aren't flair players. They're good players, but they aren't flair players. But they're going to put the shift in. Snodgrass put a flipping shift in. He played so well. His name's Snodgrass. That's a good name for a person, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of really funny.
Okay, fair play. But he put a shift in, and then he got the curly finger, and everyone was like, "Oh, come on, man!"
So who should have gone off instead?
I would have taken Noble off earlier. If he was going to bring Lanzini on, I would have taken Noble off. And possibly, well, you talk about Yarmolenko's XA was off the chart. Maybe him.
Really?
If you wanted to bring someone else on. But I would have taken anyone off. I thought the setup was fine. Noble was the only one who you could have possibly taken off if you wanted to bring on Lanzini. But the rest could have just played.
I feel from an FPL perspective, the only one I would be looking at is Yarmolenko.
I mean, yeah, because he's so direct and his left foot is a bullet, and he will score goals and create chances, and he's the right price. The others are more expensive. But yeah, I didn't agree with the substitutions. Lanzini, I'd rather have Snodgrass playing than Lanzini. That says a lot right now, because I know he's going to work hard. He got close to Haller.
Yeah,
he put a shift in that guy.
See, to flip that on its head, and obviously you were at the game, so you'll know best. But then Lanzini can open a door, right? Snodgrass is going to do it from set piece delivery, etc. And you're talking about how slow you were on the ball. So wouldn't a creative player like Lanzini in a central area assist with that?
Possibly, but not at the pace we're playing at. Because the other thing is so interesting on the weekend when I was watching the game is how static we are. It's nothing easier than defending a man that's standing still.
Yeah, agreed.
Haller standing still, Yarmolenko standing still, Anderson was standing still. We had the ball on the halfway line. I'm like, move. It's so easy for Sheffield United to defend because we play at slow pace.
One of the things you'll get, if the biggest limitation of a 4-1-4-1 as opposed to say a 4-2-3-1 is you don't tend to get those players that are in behind your front one. You don't tend to get the rotation. If I think of Spurs at their best with say Eriksen, Ali, Lamela/Son a couple of years ago, those 3 would rotate. You'd end up 5 minutes, Ali would end up on the left, and it will change back 5 minutes later. When it's a 4-1-4-1, you'll find the wide players stay very wide. And therefore that's when it does become stationary. I like the formation. I think we've seen it work at times for West Ham this year.
There's no surprise that the goal we scored was on a counter-attacking goal, and the chances we had in the second half were counter-attacking chances. We need to play at pace, and we're not. And if we're not, and if it's as a result of the way the manager's coaching them, then he's not getting the best out of his team. That's why I put that tweet out, where we should be winning these games. Like, okay, let's look at Chris's question that he's put out on Twitter.
That's exactly what I was going to go on.
Have West Ham underperformed given the fixtures they've had so far this season? 100%. We should be on at least 18 to 20 points. We're on 13 points.
Well done. Leicester are on 20.
From the fixtures
and
we've
saying
had.
they're excelling, so...
Yeah, I think we could have got more from the Palace game and the Everton game. We could have. Okay, even 16 points, an extra win. We could have done. Are the fans' expectations too high? I think they've always been too high, but I don't think the expectations on the style of play that we should be demanding from the talent in the squad that we have is too high. Is the fix too extreme in getting rid of the manager? Yeah, I'm not. I'm never an advocate for getting rid of managers because I actually would have kept Big Sam. I would have kept David Moyes. I'm all for give people a bit of time. None of those guys were at the club particularly long, but you would get work rate out of those guys. So I'm not one for getting rid of the manager, but he needs to have a look at this style of play because it's not suiting the team and it's not going to get us results.
So what's the answer?
Let the handbrake off. Just say, you know what, play. If we concede 2 or 3, we concede 2 or 3. Go and score more than the opposition. And just see what that does to the style of play. Because we're not bad defensively. Diop is not bad. Balbuena's not bad. We're just because we play a more attacking style of football, we're not going to start conceding 3s and 4s. I don't think we are. We might concede 1 or 2. But at least we'll start scoring 3s and 4s, which I 100% believe we're capable of. And we like to see attacking football at West Ham. So I'm curious, is the manager coaching them to play that way, slow and steady, or is it the players? And if it's the players, then I'll take that tweet back straight away. Now, there's one man that might be able to answer that for me, which is Johnny Pringle at FPL Pringle. Because when I put that tweet out, he tweeted back, and Johnny, I hope you're listening, and I'm going to reply back, that it sounds like what he was saying at the end of the 2015-16 season with Pellegrini. Did Pellegrini do the same to City? Were they slow and static? And was that his style of play? Or was it the players at the time? Or is it the players? And if that's the case of the management style, then it's not going to work for us.
Well, I guess it'll come down to, you can't really compare Pellegrini's title-winning City team with the current West Ham team. I think to go back to the peak sort of time of that Pellegrini City era when they won the title in 2014, you think of like Yaya Toure driving forward from midfield. He had an astonishing season.
Yeah.
So they played with more power. You don't have that sort of figurehead. And then I think towards the end, yeah, I mean, City finished in his final season, finished on about 67 points, I think, which sounds ridiculous now, right?
Yeah, mad.
So changing the manager for West Ham is definitely not the solution.
No, because there's so much other stuff around the club that's so much better for the fact that he's there.
However, my criticism when he was appointed remains unchanged.
Was a 3-year option, not a
he was never
option.
a long-term appointment,
No.
which is fine if you're going to get immediate results out of it. But what's the immediate result for West Ham? Is it a top half finish?
Top 8. I'd like to see it top 8. Break into the top 6.
So I think the club has stabilised from when like Bilic went and then Moyes. You ain't in a position now where you're going to struggle to go down or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think that's stabilised now. So now try and progress to whatever it is that you want to be, which is top 8, top 6. And I think the way to do that, because you could have a great season with Pellegrini and finish 6th and then it will go away. I think for long-term sustainability for West Ham, it would be a younger coach. Again, I'm not saying change the manager. I think personally, it wasn't necessarily the right appointment in the first place.
I'm 50-50 with you on that. I think it was not a bad appointment.
And he stabilised it as well, in fairness.
That quality of manager for us to get is a coup, because I don't think we'd get a manager of that quality or experience as easily for him to want to come to us. We've obviously paying him a fair price. But I'd love to see an Eddie Howe or someone like that come up to us as his next move, potentially in a season or 2. Let's see.
Well, you spoke last week about obviously Pellegrini being quite laid back and calm, and was it having an adverse effect on your style?
Yeah.
And it might be.
Yeah. That's why I put that tweet out, and I hope that adds a little bit of context to anyone that was mildly curious. I'm just curious, how much of our style of play is down to what he's asking them to do versus what they're doing? Are you mucking around with the handle on my chair, little guy? Who's the best football team in the world, just out of interest? Who do you think is the best?
The team that has the best players.
Oh, that's a very good
It's a
answer.
good answer.
I thought you were supposed to say the team that we support.
He knows better, mate. He knows absolutely better than say
Should we ask
Barnett.
James some questions about Tottenham?
Go on then, I can't
James
wait.
wants to ask some questions about Tottenham. Ask him if Foyth should play at right back.
What?
Foyth. Should Juan Foyth be right back?
Should Wayne Foyth be back?
Right back, yeah. Should he be back in the changing room?
Well, it seems a little bit odd that he came on, had minutes against Red Star in an improved performance last Tuesday, although they were
And then
shocking.
disappeared again.
And then wasn't in the 18 at Anfield at the weekend. He left Vertonghen out, which I know he's not been at his best this season. And as I said, Sanchez and Alderweireld did okay under mounting pressure at the weekend. But it's just more odd selections. I can't believe that Auria's surviving. Cole Walker-Peters, I presume the Spurs' career is over because he's not getting a look in, having played the first 3 games and then got injured. Hasn't had a look in other than the Colchester away fixture. Anything is an upgrade on Aurea. Like anything. It's got to be some. Tarek Hines plays for the under 23s. Anything, like stick one of the kids in. So,
Just not Aurier.
yeah, and he's not alone. There's players that need. You see, you say that the fan you wants to go, yeah, just get someone else in, but actually that's not better.
Sensible.
No, and so we're stuck with it at the moment. Between the two of them, yeah, I probably would rather Foyth there.
Than Aurier.
Aurier does nothing for me in the final third. He'd always come back inside and play the ball backwards. He can't deliver.
Not his answer's not over. He's asked Aaron sitting there going, "Is his answer over?" Can I ask him another question?
Go on, ask another question then.
There's only 2 other players that are mentioned in the questions consistently and regularly. We'll start with Lo Celso.
Okay.
Lo Celso, there are a couple of people asking about Lo Celso. What FPL Pirles Pen? What's going on with Lo Celso?
Well, he's been injured, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I think.
and also, is an FPL Jag, is Lo Celso going to be a starter for us? You want to do a question? But we've asked Twitter for questions, darling. What's your question? Go on.
Which one do you think's better? Aaron Cresswell or Declan Rice?
Oh, that's a good question. Who do you think's better, Aaron Cresswell or Declan Rice?
Declan Rice.
Okay, Declan Rice.
On Lo Celso, I think you can see he's a good footballer. Like, he's calm on the ball. I lost my rag about an hour into the game on Sunday and I just screamed at the telly, somebody put your effing foot on the ball.
Yep.
Just keep it for 2-3 minutes.
That's like us against Everton.
He's someone who potentially has that ability. In the first thing he did at the weekend was pass the ball and play it forward in between the lines. He looks nice and tidy when he coming against Red Star. I suspect longer term he will probably play in a deeper position in a midfield 3, similar to what we have seen with, say, Ceballos when Arsenal have played with a midfield 3 with him in the team.
Yeah.
At the moment, while he builds up confidence and while we're so fragile defensively, he's probably going to find a place in the team higher up, I would suggest.
I think you need to start grooming him to take over from Eriksen.
Of course, that's
the long-term
that's absolutely the plan. Unlike Lo Celso, the first thing on Ndombele did when he come on, and he it was strange because he come on, the first thing he did was he tried to play an outside the foot kind of back heel pass and give the ball away. I'm like, mate, you're playing at Anfield, get your foot on it. And after 10 minutes, he got on the ball and he did look lively, but it was only once we went behind. I don't know if that's telling about him as such in terms of Liverpool then backed off and allowed him to play rather than put pressure on him. So, despite my criticisms of Ndombele as well, the sooner we can get the 2 of those and Ryan Sessegnon into the team, the better.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 players we went and bought in the summer to improve us. We need to try and get them in the team now.
Think Architects, at this current moment, who do you think would win out of the 2 teams? When is the next game? I think if we played each other next week, we'd both lose. We'd both concede. Somehow conspire a way that both teams would lose. Next game is on November the 23rd, Saturday, early kickoff, 12:30, and it's at the London Stadium this time round. So one or 2 things will happen, as it always does. We'll be really up for it and put in a performance, or we'll do what we do to teams that are not in the best form, roll over nicely and let you tickle our bellies to get yourselves out of this run of form.
You ain't going to roll over nicely for us. We all know that.
Yeah, you say that. I've seen performances like that where we've been awful. So either way, it'll be a lively game. So it's only in 4 weeks' time.
It's 3 game weeks.
Yeah, 3 games because there's an international break just before it. So, quite a few people asking about Sebastian Haller. Time to move him on. Time to move him on.
Are you saying that in terms of FPL or West Ham?
FPL. Oh, it's not for the team. I think he's still learning his trade, and the team are learning to play with it. He's still a unit. He still wins most balls that are put into him, but sometimes he's just got no one close enough to him to pick up the pieces around him. I still think Aller's a good player, and he'll still get 12 to 15 goals this season. But from an FPL point of view, it's time to move him on. There's so many other options that are better value than 7.3 or 7.4, whatever he's priced at. I think Sebastian Aller is time to move him on. Any other questions that you've seen?
Yeah, a few more. Milan Dobricic have Spurs and Poch peaked. Is there a way forward for them together? Yes, there is, but probably not with the current players. Is what I would say to that.
Start at the back and rebuild, right?
Yeah. FPL 343 is back. Non-FPL, but interested to hear your thoughts on Winks and Dele. Feel like Winks gets a very free ride for being a young lad when he's older than Dele. For me, I felt everything good first half involved Dele's pressing, whereas Winks made 17 passes and 0 tackles. But Winks has struggled recently, either side of his very good performance for England in Bulgaria. He's the one in that team at the moment who you want to be the one who puts his foot on the ball and tries to retain a bit of calm. And he got sacrificed after an hour because the game just passed him by completely. I think that's true in that. I think Dele will get a lot of the criticism because of his status as a footballer. Has obviously grown at such a
his
speed.
demeanour sometimes.
I was listening to the guys in the studio on Sky after the game saying about he needs to cut out all his commercial stuff he's got going on in the background, do some research. He did that a month ago. I think what I'd say with Dele is, and I've said it a few times, like, I don't know if there's further reaching impact on this succession of injuries he's had essentially for over a year now, and whether we'll ever get back to the player that we saw 4 years ago, which sounds ridiculous. He's 23, right?
Yeah.
So we know it's in there because we've seen it. We know with Dele that he can reach the pinnacle of this game. I think I wanted to cover it off when we put it out as a topic for People's Poll a couple of weeks ago, was to look at cases like Dele Alli and say, well, actually, they peak. Is that the peak? Has it gone? Is it finished? Like, still a good footballer, but have we already seen the best of him?
I don't think we've seen the best of him.
And I wonder if that's the case for similar people at a similar age to kind of Hudson-Odoi's, Sancho's, are footballers peaking now at earlier ages, particularly the ones who are quick and athletic, who once they suffer injuries are just not quite the same. Look at Michael Owen is a great case.
Yeah, he's a classic example of that.
Michael Owen was at his peak at about 22, really, I'd say.
Yeah, he was quite early, for sure. And then a couple of questions around Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko is an interesting one. He is the best West Ham asset to get. I think he's 5.9 or 6 million now. On my transfer page, he's 5.9 because that's what I bought him at. I don't know if he's gone up in value. The thing is now, I look at other players in and around that price point that are more interesting. I actually think Trossard at 5.8 interests me a little bit more. Callum Hudson-Odoi at 6 million interests me a little bit more. And so I don't know if Yarmolenko's top of my list at that 6 million price point of midfielders to potentially go to. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that.
I think Yarmolenko's still worth looking at.
He is still worth
looking at.
looking
You own him, I'd hold him.
If you're owning 100% hold, but if you're looking to buy, I'm not 100% sure necessarily now is the best time to be getting him.
I don't know, it could be a good week home to Newcastle, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I've just talked about how we struggle to break sides down. But he is the one guy with his left foot that can score at any moment. He really can.
Agreed.
Whenever he gets on the ball, you do have that sense of, you know what, if he hits it right, it's going in the top corner.
I definitely feel like if you want to target West Ham, it's definitely him.
Yeah, he's the best option that you have right now at West Ham.
At Feral FPL asked, battle of the reserve keepers. He didn't exactly say which one's better, but I think we can debate that out, can't we? He should have saved Mousse's shot, Roberto, shouldn't he?
He should, but then he made a couple of other really good saves as well.
Do you feel a bit more confident in him, having seen him a couple of times?
A little. I would say yes, definitely a little more confident. He's commanding his box reasonably well. He's shouting at the defenders and trying to organise them. But he will let in goals. If we keep a clean sheet with him in goal, I'll be pretty surprised.
Okay.
No, the opposition will have had to have been pretty poor for us to keep a clean sheet.
I don't think Tottenham will be keeping too many clean sheets in the next 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, 24 months.
I mean, look, Vertonghen, you dropped Vertonghen at the weekend.
Yeah, I think that was... I think he played Sanchez in that position to cover off some of the in behind running that you'll
quicker.
get from
Pace,
Salah and stuff.
right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, of the guys there, I would always play Vertonghen. I always feel more comfortable with him in spite of the fact that he's underperformed, but so have nearly all of them, right? And we have so much better balance, position, particularly in possession, because he's naturally left-footed and can step out in that area. Sanchez is just not capable of doing that with any form of quality. And when you go to somewhere like Anfield and you're going to be limited to 25, 30% possession, you've got to have guys who when they're on it, are comfortable to receive it.
Yeah.
That was my biggest problem with Eriksen at the weekend. I can live with the fact that he was struggling to track Robertson and probably shouldn't have been playing in that position. But give me something when you're on it. Like, he looked out of his depth. He is prime case Eriksen, where some people think he's down tools. I don't think it's a case of that. I actually think at the moment he's massively suffering with confidence. And I saw him go through this in the first few months of the 16-17 season as well. And he had an unbelievable last 4 months of that campaign. Was probably just about the best player in the league last 4 months in 16-17. He just looks so devoid of confidence. And the idea that he's going to go on a free transfer next year, if he goes on a free transfer, he will get the move he wants, be it a Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, whatever, because it's a free transfer. He ain't going to improve them teams, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I think he's mentally weak. I don't think he has the arsehole for it.
Interesting.
To be a top player. And it's mad
you watch
because
him week in, week out.
he's
I'm
been,
not...
over the last 30 years, he's been one of the most consistent players at Spurs.
Yeah.
If he goes next summer, we'll have 6 years of him. No one can complain. I don't think he's toys out the pram, or I don't think he's causing a problem in the dressing room.
He's just not performing on the pitch.
But in spite of how good he's been, he's not going to get remembered in the same way that others were, who maybe even weren't as good as him.
Yeah.
Like, we had, 3 years of Modric, maybe 4? Like, look what Modric has gone on to do.
Yeah.
Eriksen's not going to do that.
Ballon d'Or standards.
Eriksen's not going to go on to that level, mate.
No. Predictions for the weekend. We're playing Newcastle, obviously, at home.
Yep.
Nice and tidy, 3 o'clock.
Yep.
I'm going to have watched the rugby, so I'm going to be all over the place for that. I think we'll 2-0. I'd like to see a 2-0 win. I don't think we'll tear it apart, but I'd like to see a couple of home goals and keep a clean sheet. So I'm going with 2-0. You've got the late kickoff on the Sunday away to Everton.
Me and Sean at Spirit Blues seem to be arguing with each other at the moment over which one of our sides is worse. If you're asking me what I think the score will be on Sunday, I think we'll get beat.
Oh, I don't think so.
If Everton play like they played against you,
yeah, they'll beat you.
And what they showed for quite long periods at Brighton, in fairness, at the weekend, yeah, they'll beat us.
But I also think Spurs, signs of turning a corner, maybe.
Talking of signs of turning the corner, however, we do have a good record against them. And the last league game we played well in was at Goodison.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm going to go with 3-1 to Spurs.
I mean, I take it. I'd take 1-0. Any win I would take at the moment.
What do you think is going to happen?
No, I think they'll beat us.
Oh, interesting. And Newcastle, West Ham?
West Ham narrow, like 1-0 or something.
1-0 or 2-0, something like that. Yeah. There we go. Anything else to add on Tottenham this week?
No.
We've got our usual rants off our chests. We've answered a few Tottenham
Sky tomorrow.
Yes, Sky Fantasy Football tomorrow.
Clash of the Correspondents Thursday. Bournemouth Man United with Neil Grover at AFC BNG and Gary at Is My Cat Plan. And final plan Friday.
Correctamundo. Aaron, anything you want to add to the listeners before we wrap up? You sat here very quietly.
Say subscribe.
Subscribe, yeah.
Subscribe.
And what should they do? Like the podcast, comment, tweet at us. Are you on Twitter yet? No.
Maybe you could send them some messages.
Send them some messages there. You can send us some messages as well.
Thanks. That's James done over
What's
again.
What's your favourite thing at West Ham when we go to watch the games?
And what's your favourite player?
Now, my favourite player is... That's a tricky one.
I'm going to talking to you.
Oh, you're asking the fans. I understand. Mine's Felipe Anderson. I asked you, what's the favourite thing that happens when you go to West Ham?
Wet socks.
Pick and mix.
I knew it was going to be pick and mix. I knew it was going to be pick and mix.
The state of modern football, listeners. There you go.
Did you see my my poll about my chicken balti pie? That was all right.
I did, yes. Nice, was it?
It was.
I wouldn't dare to try
Okay,
a chicken balti pie.
You wouldn't dare to try a chicken balti pie. Thank you. It was good. It was just overpriced.
There's a shock.
I'd probably have eaten 3 if it wouldn't cost me the best part of a £20 note. But there you go. Thanks for tuning in. Do hit like, subscribe, share, comment, interact with us, and we'll be back with you with more FPL, Sky FF, and all the rest of that content this week. Ciao for now.
Thanks for the music. Thanks for the music, guys. Thanks for the questions. Cue music. You can say
man-child. Say cue music, man-child.
Cue music, man-child.
Do you even know who man-child is?
No.
Arjun. Ciao for now.
The Fantasy Football Show.